First of all, thanks so much for making time for this interview.
No problem.
You're very busy.
Thank you, Shep.
For those who don't know you, could you introduce yourself in a few words?
Yeah. We're Jetty Road, a country-ish band from Australia, with influences from folk and pop and rock, and yeah, we do a lot of travelling around the world playing shows in France and around Europe and Canada and back and home in Australia.
And I'm Lee. And I'm Paula.
Julien.
And I'm Simon.
That's from me. How will you describe the country music that you play?
It's a bit of everything, I think. We've had so many influences from music, from our childhoods, all of us, that it's not just one style. So I would say it would probably be a cross between country pop, bit of folk, and a bit of rock as well.
Okay. After high school, Paula studied photography and Lee hospitality.
Yeah.
But after 1 year away from music, you both just decided to come back into music. Did you both miss the music so much?
Oh yeah.
It was a very strange experience to stop something that was such a big part of your life and then stop for 1 year. And even though we did like what we were doing, with no music in our life, it was completely different, completely changed, and we knew that that is what we were meant to do with our life, is to sing.
Exactly. Because it was something that you know that when you're away for something for so long, and a year seemed like a really, really long time for us. So yeah, we knew in our hearts exactly what we wanted to do.
Yes, I can imagine. So you both went to a music school in Melbourne, Australia. It was a good idea, because
Yeah.
you can see it now.
Yeah, well, in fact, that's where we all met.
Yes, we all met, and when we heard your music and see all the good things that the industry gave to you, the industry of country music, what did you learn in this school?
It was very practical, actually, and that was the best thing about this school. We went there, and a lot of schools teach you the theory side of music, and this teaches you a lot how to go out and earn a living from music. And I think a lot of places don't do that, and this really benefited all of us, because we got to go out and really put into practice what we learnt there and start earning a living and making a career from music. So it's good.
It also, they teach all kinds of music there. So
Not just country music.
yeah, it's not just country music. There's classical and jazz and folk and pop and rock. And so when you learn music as just music, you can then decide what you like. And that's what we did. After that, we decided what we liked.
And Julian, you were
Simon and I majored in jazz piano and classical piano as well.
Crazy. We didn't spend much time playing country back in those days, but these days we spend all our time playing country.
Okay. Why is it country music and not pop or rock and roll?
Well, I think it's a combination of how the girls grew up listening to a lot of country music, and when we were writing a more poppy style of music before we were Jetty Road, we were approaching record companies, and they were often saying, it's great music, but it's just a little bit too country for mainstream. And we kind of just got pushed in that direction. We ended up going up, we did an album of all our pop stuff with some stuff that we thought was country, and took it to the biggest festival in Australia, and we sold so many albums, we were like, we've got to do this more, this is great.
I think it was very natural for us. This is the music that comes out, and we love country because it's soulful, true music, and I think that's it's a real privilege for us to go up on stage and be able to play this kind of music.
We're a lot more comfortable now than when we were writing candy music,
Yeah,
candy pop
yeah,
music back in the early 2000s. Yeah.
We like country music because it tells good stories about all people. And so now we listen to the radio, and sometimes it's not country music, and there's something missing.
All right. In 2008, you played at one of the greatest country music festivals in Canada, the Dauphin Country Fest. Performers who are singing in such place include Keith Urban, another Australian,
Yes.
and Alan Jackson, just to name a few of them. how did you feel to perform live at such place?
Yeah,
It was the biggest thing for us. It really was the biggest festival we'd played at.
Yeah, at that
at
time
that stage in
it
our
was
career.
pretty freaky. We'd never done anything similar to that really. We'd done a couple of big gigs in Australia, and then suddenly we turned up in Canada, and then we had this one gig on main stage, just on the same day as Alan Jackson, a couple acts before he came on, and yeah, it was pretty freaky, but we got through it. We lived.
It was amazing. It was we were on such a high when we played that festival. It was something that sparked that we wanted to go back, and we've been back again this year to Canada and America, and it's just it's just
we were
getting
lucky
bigger.
this year. I mean, having tasted that last year, we wanted to do some of the bigger festivals this year. So we'd done Dauphin, and then this year we went back and did Big Valley Jamboree, Merritt Mountain Fest, and then Wee Fest just over the border in America. And I mean, in Wee Fest, our next door neighbours at backstage were Brooks and Dunn, and then the next room was Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and it's great because we get to meet the boys from Brooks and Dunn and watch side of stage as they're doing this show, as well as Taylor Swift, and yeah, it's a great learning experience because you get up there and you watch how these people do their shows, and they have a lot of money that goes into these shows. So it's
these guys are legends. I mean, and then at Merritt Mountain Fest we played near Kenny Chesney on the same stage as him, and then who was that? Big Valley, Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw.
Oh, but Glenn Campbell was a big.
Glenn
He was
awesome.
watching us play, so it was It's been a great ride that hopefully isn't finishing. It's just beginning.
Are there famous people like Tim McGraw, you said, or Kenny Chesney in Australia, back in Australia?
Yeah.
They're famous?
They're famous, they're big, but they don't come out, do they?
It's a long way away.
And Brooks and Dunn, no?
Yes, they have. Yeah.
They regularly come out to Australia.
So Brooks and Dunn, Sugarland have come out. I'm just trying to think.
Not many acts
Glenn
coming
Campbell's coming out this year. It's a 24-hour flight. They don't really want to do it, but we're brave. We like to come out and see what's out.
Well, this is the funny thing about us. There's not many Australian bands coming over and playing here. Well, but basically Keith Urban's one of the only acts doing it. Or he lives in America now, but so playing on the acts on the same lineup with these acts, no one in Australia gets to do it because they're on the other side of the world. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
There is Keith Urban, but Keith Urban is difficult because we know that Keith Urban is Australian, but for most people is American.
Yeah.
So it's a little strange, but he's Australian, so.
But we know Australians definitely know he's Australian. We say he's ours.
Did you know he lived like for the first 5 years in New Zealand? So New Zealand claim him, and then the Australians claim him, and then the Americans claim him. He's international.
Okay. You played at a CMA festival, CMA Global Artist Showcase, to be the #1 festival in the world, the CMA Music Festival in Nashville, Tennessee. Was it a good experience for you?
Oh, yeah.
CMA Festival.
To go to Nashville, I think that everyone wants to go to Nashville to experience the country music capital of the world, and it was amazing just to be in town when all the big acts were there, like Keith Urban, Faith Hill, Carrie Underwood, just so many different people playing, and we got to see them perform as well. And I don't know, it's such a big machine, the Nashville city. It's like so much country music goes on there, so much country music business goes on there, and it was just another learning experience for us to go into Nashville and to play there. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it really is Music City. It really feels like that when you're there.
Yeah.
We're walking in the hotel foyer one day, and this massive guy walked up to us, Trace Adkins.
Yeah.
Nearly as tall as the ceiling.
Yes,
So,
big.
Yeah. We get a photo with him, and Lee and I, we already come up to his armpit.
Yeah.
Like, it was very
That's Nashville.
It
It's like the next guy walking down the street could be Tim McGraw, you know, it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're quite famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First country music band to perform at the Hard Rock Cafe in Paris. You are touring from Canada to the USA to Europe for your brand new album A Million Miles. What's next for you?
We hope it's the beginning.
Yeah.
We just hope it's the beginning of something that grows and grows.
I think next year we will be, when we come home from this tour here in Europe, we have a maybe a few weeks rest and then start touring again in Australia. But then next year we are heading back to Canada, to the US, and also to Europe as well to play festivals and spread the music.
And then make another album.
Yeah. We won't have a new album for next year, but maybe the time after. But yeah, it's hard to fit it all in because it's a busy schedule. But the main thing that takes time is the travelling, just getting on planes and trains and automobiles.
Pretty much.
Did you take time to visit the country where you actually singing, or it's just a busy schedule?
Well, it's a bit of both. Like tomorrow when we take off, we drive to Germany, and then we have to play tomorrow night. So it's a really tough schedule. But just previous this week, we've had 4 days off. So we've been able to stay in a little town and just experience the French atmosphere and the French hospitality, and that's what that makes our trip fantastic too. That we can just relax and chill out, and we love it.
Yeah, 3 countries this weekend in 3 days. France tonight, Germany Saturday, and then Switzerland Sunday. So it's a busy schedule. In the wrong order, we're going all the way to Germany and then back to Switzerland.
As you come from Australia and you sing in front of a worldwide audience, could you explain us if there were any differences between American country music and the country music in Australia?
Yes, there is.
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you think, Jules?
In Australia, there's like the traditional kind of Australian country music with people sort of like Slim Dusty and John Williamson that sing a lot about the Australian bush and just life on the land and that sort of thing. It's just the whole sound of it, and I think they really incorporate the Australian accent rather than that kind of universal accent that a lot of other people use, including us. It's good if we had examples here. We could play it and go.
So our accent is not so Australian if you compare it to some acts. In Australia, there's acts that even sing more American than us or international, but ours is sort of in the middle. Whereas there's some acts that sound so Australian that you wouldn't believe it. You probably couldn't understand what they were saying.
You might not understand either.
And I think that it doesn't matter what industry you are in. In Australia, there's traditional country, and then there is the new country coming through. And it's the same in America. There are the traditionalists who enjoy their old country, and then there are the people who like the new country, and it might be the same here in France. So it is everywhere. It is happening all the same everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. You are touring to promote your album Life at a Million Miles. Could you tell us what this album means to you? What's the story behind this album?
It's all about our gypsy lifestyle, I think, and life on the road, because when we write from personal experience, and since our last album we've been doing a lot of touring, not only in Australia but all around the world, and so when we write from life experience, that obviously comes from travelling and living free, and so some of those songs they are universal. They may connect with everyone, whether it's about working or love, but it still has that gypsy vein running through it. So, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just writing about what we're doing. Basically.
Yeah.
We're never home, so we write about never being home.
But sometimes I think it's important that as we write about our experiences, that it's not always so literal about that, because your fans have to really relate to your songs and be able to take them as part of their life as well. If we're talking all the time about a tour bus, they may not understand.
Yeah, it's not all self-indulgent.
No.